Welcome. I got your emails or, well, your alerts. We'll get to it in one sec. Because, woo, this was something, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Carcino for life here. And while you guys were hitting my alert button up heavy, it's time we get to the business. Person like you ain't gonna talk about this because Nick is your buddy. Get to you. What's up, Mr. Hogan? We're here to talk about the most explosive news to hit the internet today, probably in 2020. The first month of the year, we get hit with this curveball from the oddball. Now, we're going to get to the gist of everything. A lot of people's like, oh, Orlando Brown just outed himself. If you listen to me, I've already explained this, but about his condition. Now, apparently, he wanted to be on Wild 'N Out, and Nick Cannon wouldn't allow him to be on Wild 'N Out, and that led to the video that you see today. Well, in case you hadn't seen the video and you were on another planet, let me tell you what went down. Lando put out a video after being denied of getting on the show. Put out a video and where he starts to brag and talk about Nick gave him fellatio. And he smiles while saying this, like very proudly. And he's laughing as he's saying it. Don't forget to hit the like button, because we're going to get to the whole gist of all of this. Because everyone thought I was so afraid to touch this topic because of my friendship with Nick Cannon. First off, let me explain something. Me and Nick are not phone buddies. Me and Nick Cannon does not hang out. I have nothing but love and respect for Nick. When he sees me, it's all good. We have that type of, that's like saying me and Floyd Mayweather are besties. I've talked to Floyd way more than I've talked to Nick. But Nick Cannon is someone that came up under Kel, who, Kel grew up around the corner from me. Kel and my cousin was in a rap group. Kel got on all that before there was a Nick Cannon. Nick came in on the show when Kel and the show was already rolling. He got casted in the show. He was not from California. Nick Cannon he lived in his car. He made money and he lived in his car. He saved his money up, didn't spend money on a hotel or anything, lived in his car. He didn't have any friends in California, didn't know anybody. And Kenan Thompson, yeah, thank you. I'm reading the comments and there y'all having a field day over there. So anyway, I know he's from Diego. I'm meaning that he didn't have any, people out in the LA area. He was not from there. He didn't have any friends out that far. So when I meant Cali, I meant LA. Sorry about that. I'm Midwest. For some reason, I don't, and they don't view San Diego as part of, LA. It's two different worlds. So anyway, and I've lived in San Diego. It's two different worlds. Don't forget to hit the like button. Rancho Bernardo, baby. Shouts out to Rancho Bernardo. Right off of Rancho Bernardo Drive, off the 5. So you know what you know about it. Used to gamble in Pachonga, drive up to Temecula. Who was the boy? Used to go to the movie theater off the Miramensa Boulevard. Who's your boy? Say no to God. What you think? I'm gonna be hanging out with all of y'all down there in that crazy San Diego city, right next to them Chula Vista dudes? I don't think so. Y'all crazy. But anyway, y'all taking us away from what happened. So while he was living in his car, Kenan Thompson, Big Kenan, who we know, came out here, been to my home, in Grove Heights, my grandma's house, because he's visiting Kel. The only time he ever really hung out and kicked it with us, and he kicked it with Double O. The only time I go past San Diego City is when I'm going to Coronado Beach. That's it. I'm going to the beach. I'm driving. I ain't hanging out with no Chula Vistas. Ain't no Chulas and ain't no Vistas and ain't no Vistas or no Chulas. I'm going right to Coronado Beach. I'm from Chula Vista. Yeah, right. You know that ain't nothing but Tijuana, Mexico. But we'll talk about that at another time. Now, surviving Nick. Don't do Nick like that. Surviving Nick. Oh, that's wild. Y'all are wild for that. So anyway, let me get back to the story. Now, here we go. Nick actually, wow, man, these people are something else. Anyway, Nick actually, right? Nick Cannon actually, and I mean this factually now, this is what he actually did. Kenan came to him and said, look, man, I heard, rumors that you're sleeping in your car, man. I tell you what, I have a 2-bedroom condo. You could come stay with me. I have an extra room. You can live there in the room. So it worked out perfect because Nick was like, he was very reluctant because he didn't know anybody and didn't want to ask nobody for anything. So once he went there and started working with, living with Keenan, those two became tight. And Keenan and Kel, who was like running buddies, they didn't really run together pretty much anymore. Kel was in a relationship and got married really fast. So then that changed his thing with Keenan. Keenan like hanging out in ATL, strip clubs, women, girls. It was fast life for him. He loved that. He didn't want to change. He's like, I gotta do what big boys do. I'm hanging out with Too Short in Atlanta. That was his thing. He wanted to live a completely different lifestyle than his character on TV. Keenan was entirely different. So, anyhow, he had to hang out with Double O when Keenan came here and visited Chicago for the first time. So, that was his thing there. But anyhow, they living together. Nick's bringing girls through, girls that want to come through. So now this helps Keenan out. Keenan don't have to go out and search for girls because Nick's bringing the girl. So the whole thing is laid out. Kenan, if you don't know who Kenan Thompson is, you must don't watch Saturday Night Live. But Kenan Thompson and the rest of the people that were involved, they were hanging out. It was Nick and Kenan for life. And people were joking. They had a heart, and it's like Nick and Kenan besties, and they had them in there for life and all that. And then some of the haters was thinking, man, they just be shacked up in that apartment all day, Nick and Kenan. Wonder what they be doing. Yeah, y'all went in the house at 6 o'clock and all the lights were out. What was going on in there? They were just playing and joking with them at the time. Like, oh, they're going to come out holding hands. Y'all going to come out. So everybody used to joke with Nick and Kenan with this. So it was a running joke, like on the show and on the set and everything, because they were so close at that time because they lived together. But this worked out for Kenan because now he got somebody that could bring some chicks over for him. And what happened is that Kenan ended up getting on Saturday Night Live and doing some other things, but Nick Cannon blew up. Nick became a big player in Hollywood, and he took the deals that basically Kel said no to. Nick said yes, and took those deals and ended up becoming a rap star, made his album Gigolo and all this stuff, and became an icon for teen idols and all the girls, and he started to blow up. And while Kenan's career was going stagnated, Nick Cannon talked to Bill Cosby. And he said, Bill, can you do me a favor? Bill was, well, there was a time it was this kid. He was really, really fat. He used to run real fast and pick his neighbor. We called him Albert. And I'm making a movie about Fat Albert. Now, I don't know if you're trying to make fun of me and trying to come here and saying you want to play Fat Albert. But I ain't got no time for no games, Nick. I just wanted to let you know that I like your comedy. I think you're funny. And don't you ever start saying no flip, flarn, fifth. on television. He was like, thank you, Mr. Cosby. You want some Jell-O pudding? I got a refrigerator full of it from the stuff back in 1991 we didn't sell. No. He said no. He's like, no, but could you do me a favor? I have the perfect person for the lead for Fat Albert, my buddy. He is perfect. Let him audition for the character and you won't look nowhere else. Well, bring him in then. If he has your sign of approval, then I'll go see him personally. So a personal audition for Bill Cosby was Kenan Thompson. He did his Fat Albert, and he's like, that's the best doggone Fat Albert I done seen since me. You got the part. So Nick Cannon got Kenan the audition for the Fat Albert role, which did a lot for his career at the time because it was kind of dismal after everything that happened with Nickelodeon. Then he auditioned for Saturday Night Live. He nailed it. Got on there basically from Nick. If he didn't do that, he would have been on Wild 'N Out with Nick. But the SNL thing worked for him and boosted him to a status quo that you wouldn't believe. So just like Kenan looked out for Nick, Nick looked out for Kenan. And that's how it's supposed to work in this business. Nick has a partner that like handled his business and was always side by side with Nick called Mac. And Mac is ordinary, man. I mean, he's extraordinary. Mac is extraordinary. What's in it for Mac? That's all his name is. So what's in it for Mac? Talks about himself in third person. It is the greatest thing you ever want to see in your life. But Orlando Brown, him and Raven-Symoné and others went through some abusive times. And unfortunately for them, it altered their lives. Some things happened to them that can't be discussed here. Exposed to too much drugs and, other things brought out certain changes in people. And that was that. But as far as Nick, come on. It's Hollywood, but that is basically ridiculous. They used to say that about my boy Where's Jonathan. Same thing. Oh, the guy who plays Sweetness in Roll Bounce. Because he played why is his name Sweetness? They used to say that about him, but him and Nick was all tight. It was a unit, Nick. And they used to say he was Will Smith. They used to always tease him, oh, here come Will Smith because of the way he dressed. And the way Nick used to dress all the time. They used to call him Young Will Smith. So then him and Will met. And I was like, Nick was all fly with it. Kel is not my cousin. Kel grew up with my cousin. He lived around the corner from me. And him and my cousin are the same age. So they hung out. They became a rap group. They did all those things. Him, Fred, and my cousin, they did the rap group thing, and Kel was mostly the break dancer. He was decent on the mic, but it wasn't his strong suit. But do I think he did that with Orlando? No, I think Orlando is just mentally screwed up. He doesn't care what people say or think about him anymore because he's done all that stuff. I mean, to be truthfully, Orlando's done a lot of things for drugs. So that's not going to surprise anybody. He's not going to lose a sponsorship. This guy was getting beat up in the streets because he's walking down the street on drugs and stepping in a man's yard. And the dude's like, dude, if you don't get out of here, I'm going to hit you with a shoe. Now, they don't want this guy on Wilding Out because he's going to wild way out. But they was like, but what if it turns out to be true, Sino? I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. Don't change. The Nick I saw, hell no. He had too much going on. But this Hollywood, baby, you never know what people will do in Hollywood. Nothing will shock me. We've seen a lot of things in Hollywood. But didn't Shady Records pay his rent for a month for some reason? I have no idea why. Maybe can somebody tell me why Shady Records was giving this guy money? Can Paul Rosenberg answer that? Why was Orlando Brown getting money? See, the thing is, the people that he really was getting down with, he's never gonna mention their names. I'm just saying, why was he getting checks from Shady Records? What was Orlando Brown doing to get checks from Shady Records? That's the question people need to be asking right now. Not this Nick Cannon thing. The real question is, what in the world was you paying Orlando Brown to do? He was producing what records? Have you heard an Orlando Brown record? He wasn't a cheetah girl. Or was he? He's producing. Little engine go, little engine roll, little engine go, little engine go. Now we know who Little Engine about. Now we know what Little Engine about. Okay, the little engine that could. Little engine go, little engine go, little engine go. Oh man. It's crazy. So anyway, if somebody that mentally unstable could come out and say anything, of course people are naturally going to believe it because they know how Hollywood is. They've seen a bunch of documentaries. But the thing is, the truth of the matter is, you'll never hear the real stories about the real people, because the real people with the power that you don't see is these guys who are extremely weird. These guys have paid money to have people assassinated in broad daylight, afternoons. Yeah, broad afternoons, right in California. Police do a raid, the hitman take himself out before they even arrest him. All of this has happened. It's all documented. You can find it everywhere. And the real people involved behind that, you will never know. Ain't that right, John Peters? It's all mob connected. See, a lot of these guys, what you didn't pick up from the television show Sopranos, that I'm going to help you out with here, is the fact that a lot of it is based off true events and true stories. And near the end of the Sopranos, when you start seeing how they incorporated Goodfellas into the movies, when they had the slasher movie, slasher gangster movie, and all this stuff, and bringing those stories to Hollywood, and they was like, look, I don't know about this film. You know, a lot of people are offended by it, you know, and that essence is what was happening with the mafia back then. They strong armed Hollywood back in the 60s and 70s, used to control the movie industry, and they kind of got muscled out by corporations. Now they found a new way in New England to get in, extort some of these movie directors who belong to these corporations, and get some of their guys hired as movie directors and making their own film and start producing their own films. So you got guys who are mobbed up and connected, got friends of the friends, and they make sure they friends of friends have very good careers. People such as Martin Scorsese, um, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci. All of these guys have friends of friends and friends in real life that back them, that financially help them maneuver a Netflix movie to get a budget of $175 million to tell a tale about John, what's his name? Jimmy Hoffa for like 3.5 hours long. 175 million from Netflix. Are you kidding me? Of course they do. They do their part and they step out of the way. It's a lot of different moving pieces in there. And there's a lot of things that are transpiring in there. A lot of hits that happen in real life. A lot of people, I mean, viciously taken out of the game. A lot of people who were taken out in different ways. When you see people in the Hollywood industry having an overdose, sometimes it's not an overdose. So I'm just saying. Unfortunately, these are the scenarios a lot of people are faced with in Hollywood. There is a situation that we know of in which a person was forced to basically take himself out, or the whole house was going to get taken out, meaning the five, the kids, the wife, everybody. So they gave him an option: take yourself out, or your whole house is going to be taken out. This demand is given a lot. And then we read the reports that this person decided to take its own life, and it just didn't make sense. And it's like, why would this person would not do this? This does not make sense. But a lot of people know what happened in real life behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, that happened. So we will not go any further into more detail on that. Maybe on my Patreon for my VIPs only. We'll go into more detail. And believe me, there's so much you have no idea how dirty this game can get. And that, believe me, these things don't pop up in articles. In my estimation, 100%, or I'll say 99%, Nick is straight, like, what you want to say, 915 or 345. So in case you guys just got here and want to know what happened, Orlando Brown put out a video saying that Nick Cannon gave him fellatio. And once he said that, that shocked the world. Sent like a wave through the rest of the whole internet, and everyone's hitting me up. Nick Cannon's your best friend. What happened? Now all of a sudden, Nick Cannon's my best friend. Versus, you don't know Nick. You never met Nick a day in your life. After this, he's your best friend. What's happening with your best friend, Nick? Well, he's mad because Nick Cannon don't want him on Wild 'N Out. So now he got turned down for Wild 'N Out. Now he wants to say this about Nick Cannon. It's like, really? Come on. I just want to know why Shady Records is cutting Orlando Brown a check. That's the whole thing I want to know. That makes more. There's more into it that I want to know. Why was Shady Records paying Orlando Brown? That's the biggest question I have right now. What's happening in that picture? Somebody tell me that. Why ain't nobody talking about that? Why Orlando Brown ain't talking about that? Hassan Campbell, they should have him and Orlando Brown square off in the ring. Ding! Put them in celebrity boxing. That's a celebrity boxing fight I'm scared to watch. I don't know how that's gonna go. I mean, he got 100 million and no hoes. I'm like, how does that happen? How does that happen, people? $100 million and no hoes? I'm like, what? Just a little hoe. Can we get a little hoe? We got to hear about Kim. The whole Detroit didn't have Kim. Remember, oh yeah, that's the Kim chick again. Then you had Kim over here. Yeah, she over there asleep. It's ridiculous. It's highly ridiculous. We're going to go in more detail on this on the Patreon. Yeah, you'll get a lot of behind the scenes stuff on the Patreon. I'm trying to debate. I think this might have to be VIP only. This might have to be the VIPs only. So VIPs, we're gonna really get into the gist of a lot of things that I'm talking around here that I can express a lot better on the Patreon. But the gist of it is Nick is no, not Nick. Nick, you gotta understand, Nick loved women way too much. Way too much. I wouldn't put it past anybody in Hollywood, but no. There's so many women. Like I told y'all, who's the one to tell y'all Beyonce? Who's the first one to break that story? Back before anybody knew anything, and Nick had to go out on the Instagram and put the story out himself. Oh, the VIP, they get direct access. The MVPs on my Patreon get direct access. All access, you get the majority of everything except for that direct stuff. And when it gets to a certain extent like this, it's for VIPs only. Right, man. So if you love this video and you loved us being here, spending this time, don't forget to hit the Cash App up. The name is Carcino on the Cash App. If you like the information you got here, because you heard a lot of stuff that no one else could ever report to you because they didn't know anything. Oh, yeah, the String Lab. J Biz, the king of the String Lab. I did a video answering all the questions in there. Cap, that Cap one to done. What's up with your best friend, Nick? And on that note, we are gone. Y'all are something else.